Alrighty, so welcome to the September 16th, 2019 Adelaide Metcalfe Council meeting. We just have a moment of silent reflection. Stand. Is there any declaration of appearances or general nature thereof? Seeing none. Before we move into the minutes and then delegations, just want to give an update. So over this past week, I had the opportunity to go to the NISA BC conference, which is the Municipal Information Systems Association, and I had an excellent time in Whistler and learned a lot about all the things that they're doing out there for information technology, and it's brought a lot of information back about kind of different things that they're doing with their libraries and municipalities, and talking about kind of as far as like automated cars and self-driving cars and how that's going to change our cities and municipalities and townships. And it's kind of exciting what is happening in the world. And I'm looking forward to, when those 5, 10, 20 years down the road, and how the changes that are happening right now are going to affect that going forward. So it was a really good conference. There is an Ontario conference as well, and our manager or director of IT, Morgan Calvert at the County Middlesex, he is the president for Ontario. And that conference also, it's the same time as the FCM conference, so there was a conflict there, so I was able to go with Morgan to that conference out west. So it was a really interesting time, and I did fly in from Vancouver today, so I am a little tired. So let's hopefully we can get through this agenda swiftly, so I can go home. Yeah, so I can go home and have some sleep, so I can get to the county building tomorrow for county road assumption meeting. So just wanted to give you an update with that. It's really neat. I think if anybody has the opportunity to go to the Nissan Ontario conference or the BC one, it's a lovely place out there, take that opportunity, because there's a lot of information that's out there and a lot of changes that are coming. So it's exciting. We'll move into the minutes of the previous meeting, which was September 3rd, 2019. Move on seconder for those. Okay. Councillor Clark and Councillor McKinnon. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. We're going to jump right into our first delegation, which is the Strathmore Middlesex General Hospital Foundation. And we have, we did before the meeting the check presentation of $15,000 going to the foundation. And I'll have Janet or Sue or Ed, who's going to speak.
So, good evening, and thank you so much for having us back, and for also for your wonderful donation of $15,000. My name is Janet Grantham, and I am chair of the Strathmore Middlesex General Hospital Foundation. This is my third time here to visit this group, and your continued support is much appreciated. And I'm going to pass it over to Sue, who's going to give some facts and figures.
Very quickly. And I passed it out. Jen has copies of it as well. I thought you might be interested to know the top 3 areas where residents of Adelaide Metcalfe visit the hospital. So radiology, emergency of course, and outpatient or ambulatory care. And you can see over the last 4 years that usage has been growing quite steadily. So I thought you might find that of interest. And then just the second page is a comparison of Adelaide Metcalfe, 2 visits from to the hospital, and also compares the other municipalities within the county. And again, you can see that on average, county as a whole, excuse me, usage has grown about 10.5%, 10.66 actually. Adelaide Metcalfe again has realized an increase of almost 20% in the last 4 years. So just FYI, we are well used by our residents of the township, and certainly hope to be able to provide those services for many years into the future. And just to let you know, that donation will go towards our CT scanner, one of the busiest pieces of diagnostic imaging equipment in the hospital. So thank you again, and I wish you well in the rest of your council meeting tonight, and thank you again for your support. Thank you. We are arranging a tour of the diagnostic imaging department. We don't have a date yet, but I will pass that information along, and would love to welcome any counselors and staff that are interested in going. We are working with Middlesex Centre to support some equipment in the diagnostic imaging department over the next number of years, and we're having them in, and Mayor DeVete would actually love to have anybody else join them as well. So more to come on that. It'll be hopefully informative, and hopefully some of these
Always
can attend.
interesting.
Yeah. So thank you.
All right.
And my memory's not very good today. So thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sue and Janet.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to move into our public meeting, and that's to hear zoning bylaw amendment Z09-2019. Move on second for that. Councillor McKinnon, second by Councillor Brody. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Okay, so the purpose of the following public hearing for Adelaide Metcalfe Council is to give the members of Council as well as the general public an opportunity to hear all interested persons with respect to the application before Council this evening. The public is advised that comments expressed and written material presented are matter of public record available for full disclosure. If a person or public body files an appeal of decision made this evening to the local planning appeal tribunal without having made a written submission to Council, the tribunal may dismiss the appeal. If you wish to be notified of the decision, please submit a written request to the township, and a sign-in sheet has been provided at your convenience on that table in front of us. And our zoning bylaw amendment, we have Keith McCormick. There we go. I should know who you are. You're here every 3 years, I think.
Maybe it'll change, I don't know.
Excellent. Have you received the planning report?
Yes, it is.
Excellent. And Aaron, how'd you go through the report?
Thank you, Mayor Smith. So I will keep this brief since you are well aware of Mr. McCormick's situation here. So we're looking for an extension of the temporary use bylaw for the second dwelling on his property. So originally granted in 2007, granted most recently again in 2016. The zoning bylaw expires this October 17th of this year. So we're looking for another 3-year extension. We're going to retain the same zoning that he has currently, the T-1, A-2. So we are, planning staff are satisfied that the use is still required and that the zoning is still appropriate. We circulated the application. There was no comments or concerns received. I drafted an implementing bylaw this evening for your consideration. So my recommendation for zoning amendment Z09-2019 be approved, and further that council proceed with the first, second, and third reading of the bylaw.
Thank you, Aaron. Anything you'd like to add at all?
Nothing.
No? Nothing you said, yeah, this for the previous 3 years and many years before?
Yeah, right here, yeah.
Excellent. Is there anyone in the gallery wishing to speak to this application? None? Any questions or comments from council?
No.
Okay. So what we'll do now is we'll have a motion to resolve at the public meeting to hear a zoning bylaw amendment Z09-2019 be closed at 7:09 p.m. and council reconvene in regular session. Councillor Clark and Councillor Brody, all those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. And a motion to approve. Councillor McKinnon and Councillor Clark, all those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. You're all set for another 3 years.
I do agree. I know, I've got one question.
Yes.
Maybe I should, I'm on going.
No,
Take your time.
Yep.
Some of the other municipalities are talking about, they have a one-time, they don't do like every 3 years, they do it differently, I believe. I'm not sure how that all works, but I think Aaron and I were talking at the meeting, he said there's some in Ontario getting on board, or?
Yeah, so there's potential changes for increasing housing supply and that sort of thing. So there might be an opportunity in the future for it to be a longer extension.
Yeah.
So that would be in the 3 years. Once the 3 years are up, we can reevaluate and perhaps do it for a longer period of time for you.
Maybe 4 or 5.
Perhaps longer for being 10.
Of course, it's going to be here for 20.
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, we'll see you again at the and last year this term, so you'll see these faces around the table. So.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So we're a little early for our committee adjustment, which is at 7:20. So we'll move into correspondence and our upcoming conferences, seminars, and meetings. So we have our public meeting on Tuesday, September 24th at 6:30, and then our next meeting is on Monday, September 30th at 7 p.m. And it's a recap of the public meeting that's being held the week prior. And then we have a special policy area planning study meeting on Thursday, October 17th at 3 p.m. till 6, which is the open house, and then 6 p.m. is the public meeting, followed by October 21st and November 4th. And just to note, just that's October 21st now, or at the end of it?
We can do it now if you would like.
May as well,
Yes,
so then,
do it now.
when going through this, I realized October 21st is the federal election. And I'm
Oh.
thinking that we should probably switch that so then everyone, staff, council, and if there's anybody attending our council meeting has an opportunity full opportunity to get out and vote. Kathy was suggesting maybe we bump it back to the next Monday, following that, which gives us more time between the special policy area planning study meeting and that
Sorry,
meeting.
back to the 14th, which is
Oh, no, sorry.
Thanksgiving, or forward?
So the 28th.
Yes,
Yeah,
sorry.
I already have meetings the fourth Monday of each month.
So the 28th?
Or we could
Alright.
or we could just bump it back to the Tuesday or whatever works.
I like the 28th, but that's just personally me.
You can.
No.
Okay.
I wasn't gonna be here tonight, but I switched my flight.
Hold on, I
for
can
tomorrow.
check. 20, so it'd be 22nd?
Yeah, what about the
Pretty much.
22nd, the 29th?
I guess I should vote you.
I'm easy now.
That's fine. It's county council, but that's okay.
What, on the 22nd?
Yeah, but that's fine. It's all be done by
So,
3, 4.
okay. So changing it.
Does that work? 22nd?
Hold on, give me 1 second. Yeah, that actually works.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I get a motion for that, please?
Okay. Mover and seconder for that. Councilor Clark and Councilor McKinnon. And that's moving the October 21st meeting to October 22nd to accommodate the federal election. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. Okay, moving into the recommended readings. Item number 1 is from Middlesex County, and it's the place we call home. Item number 2 is from the MTO, and it's the speed limit pilot project. Any questions on that one?
I attended the place we call
Oh,
home.
yep.
I was a little disappointed, it wasn't very well, signed for how to get into it. The gentleman from North Middlesex and I were around at the back, and it said to go through this door, and we went through that, and that took us into the bar, and they had no idea where we should be going from there. And I believe it said it was to start at, 4, no, it was to start at 4, and it didn't start until 4:30. So I was kinda thinking, you know, I made an effort to get there on time. I had hoped that they would have as well.
That was at Fire Rock, wasn't
It
it?
was at the
The golf
golf
course.
course in
Okay.
Kona there,
Yeah.
or Kamoka.
And the attendance, from my understanding, was not as high as they expected.
No.
Yeah.
No. And to my thinking, being a senior,
Mhm.
they only had 2 tables with 4 chairs around them, and the rest were smaller tables that you stood at. So I said, I'm going to grab a chair. So she said, yes, you go ahead. So
Okay.
3 of us sat at the one table, but
Okay.
I wasn't impressed.
Was the event itself, like the information that you received, was it?
I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest. What they showed were videos of 4 individuals that had moved from other places to Middlesex. And one was from Southwest, the Cooper Standard there, he worked. 2 were from Strathroy General Hospital, and they had moved, I believe one was from Sudbury or Barrie.
And another lady, and I forget where she was working, but it just showed a video of them, and then you could go, oh, the other lady was working at Communities Employment Center. Should have remembered that one. And it just said how much they liked Middlesex. That was it. I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest.
Okay.
More than that.
Understand. I'll give that feedback to Kara.
They gave you a very nice pamphlet, a little booklet, and you've got a copy of it there as well. And they gave you a water bottle with Middlesex on it.
I'll let Kara know about some of the signage issues and
Yeah,
making sure there's more chairs.
yeah. And get there on time.
Yes. Start on time.
Yes, start on time.
Alrighty. We're going to move on to the action required items. Item number 3 is from Stratford Carrock, and it's their minor variance application IE 22-2019. That's the public notice. You don't want that one? Okay. Okay, and then item number, is there any concerns on that one?
I was just gonna say, did you want a resolution that we had no objections?
Sure, I can, yeah.
On the,
Okay.
Councilor McKinnon and Councilor Brody. All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. And then item number 4 is from Kitchener, and it's a resolution regarding reducing litter and waste in our communities. I'll jump up and down. We're going to move on to item number 5, and it's from Ladder Lakes, and it's a resolution regarding electronic delegations. This one I think we should probably support. Yeah, just it allows more flexibility for municipalities not able to be there, or if,
or ones in remote areas.
Yeah.
where,
yeah.
I yield to you. I'll motion that we
Okay.
support this.
Moved to Councilor Clark, seconded by Councilor Brody. All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. And we just need to have a resolution then to resolve that council receive and file correspondence CC1 to CC2 and 4. Sorry. Right.
CC 1, 2, and 4.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Okay, mover and seconder. Councilor Clark and Councilor Brody. All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. We'll say it's 7:20. I'm going to go back to the adjustment to the motion that resolve that council convenes the committee of adjustment for the purpose of hearing minor variance application AO 8/2019 and B 12/2019 at 7:20 p.m. Councilor McKinnon and Councilor Clark. All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. So the purpose of the following public hearings for the Adelaide Metcalfe Committee of Adjustment is to give the members of the Committee of Adjustment as well as the general public an opportunity to hear all interested persons with respect to the applications before the committee this evening. The purpose of the public is advised that comments expressed and written material presented are a matter of public record available for full disclosure. If a person or public body files an appeal decision made this evening to the local planning and appeal tribunal without having made a written submission to the committee, the tribunal may dismiss the appeal. If you wish to be notified of a decision, please submit a written request to the township and a signage sheet has been provided. So, our first application is A08-2019 and it's minor variance, and we have Rick. Excellent. You can come on up. We like to call this the hot seat. So, but as you can tell, we have a little fun around here, so it's not so hot. Alrighty. Have you received the planning report from Aaron?
Yep.
Excellent. And Aaron, I'll have you go through the report.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. So the application before you this evening is looking for permission for the construction of an accessory building with a maximum height of 6.2 meters. from grade to peak, whereas the maximum building height for an accessory building is 5 meters, according to our zoning bylaw. So the applicant is requesting that relief be granted with respect to the above provision in order to permit the construction of a shop or an accessory building, generally in the rear yard of his subject property. The applicant has advised that the increased height of the proposed structure is for a monoslope roof to accommodate future installation of solar panels. And with this roof pitch, the applicant is also interested in installing a car lift. And with this pitch, the car lift would not be able to be accommodated, so the additional height would allow for that to be installed. So he has advised that the intended use of the accessory building is for storage and for maintenance of personal vehicles only. So this application was reviewed against our policy and regulatory context. So the subject lands are within our residential area of our official plan, as well as the urban residential or UR zone of our zoning bylaw. I evaluated the application against the 4 tests of minor variance. In terms of his proposal, it fits in with the character of the area. We have done higher heights similar to this in this similar area. So I am satisfied that the 4 tests of minor variance can be satisfied and met. Consultation, the application was circulated as per the requirements of the Planning Act. Our chief building official requested that the proposed building be located far enough from the lot line so the final grading slopes away from the building without adversely affecting the neighboring property lines. St. Clair Region Conservation Authority indicated no comments or concerns. So my recommendation this evening is that the application be granted subject to the following condition: that the subject accessory building include eaves and trough along the lengths of the building's fascia, and the related downspout be directed away from any neighboring property to the satisfaction of the township's chief building official.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. Okay, do you have anything like that?
Yeah, pretty much covers it.
Excellent. Is there any questions or comments? Councilor Clark?
There's mention of a car lift, is that a hoist, is that the same thing? So that is just for personal use, or are you doing
Yeah,
automotive?
Getting too old to roll around on that
Oh,
driveway.
okay. I just want to ensure that you won't be operating a business out of there, that's all. Okay, and that's been stated, so.
No, between myself and the kids, we have about 7 vehicles on the road. And
Oh my
I
goodness.
don't like to take it to the garage.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, is there any other questions at all? Okay, so I'll move on to seconder for approval with the 1 condition. Councilor Kinnan and Councilor Brody. All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. Okay, you're all set.
Thanks, Rick.
We can start over to the next one.
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna move right into the next planning application, which is consent application B12 2019.
I was looking to be here every minute. You just on the next road.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
So the final application this evening is for Kerrigan and Jennifer McDougall. They originally applied for their severance last year, however they were not able to satisfy the conditions prior to the lapse date. So they have submitted an additional application. So I reviewed my previous report. There was a deferral that was originally done in order to get St. Clair's satisfactory sign-off. But we did come to an agreement, and the property was slightly modified to increase the lots to be severed. So the applicant has done a preliminary survey of the property and has submitted that for our discussion purposes, and so I'm satisfied that the requirements of that condition has been satisfied, so I have removed that condition from the list. I did want to mention though that the land dedication requirements from the county have changed. So originally the application was only subject to the land dedication for the lot to be severed. However, any applications that were received after November 14th of last year were now subject to the additional rule where they take land dedication from the severed and the retained parcel. So because of the resubmission of the application, the county is now requesting land dedication from both the severed and retained. So I have amended that condition in the list as well. So my recommendation again is for approval of the application, subject to the same series of conditions as last year, with the exception of the removal of the amendment to change the lot area and frontage. So that it would also be subject again to the zoning bylaw amendment requirement. The applicant is still required to relocate the hydro service. I don't believe that has been satisfied yet. In addition, the condition number 5 has been amended for the land dedication for both the severed and retained. So if there's any questions regarding any of the other conditions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, Councillor Kim?
Through you, Mayor Curtis, to Aaron, number 14, that the outstanding application fee of $1,600 be paid in full.
Yes, so the applicant paid, I think the end of last week. So at the time of the report submission, it hasn't been paid yet.
Okay. It's paid now.
It's paid now, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other questions? Okay, so the recommendation for approval with the 16 conditions. Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Brody. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. And a motion to resolve that the Committee of Adjustment be closed at 7:27 p.m. in council reconvening regular session. Councillor Clark, Councillor Brody, all those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Okay, thank you, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you. I think that's record timing for you.
There's also no
Yeah.
gallery members or quiet ones here this evening.
Thanks, Lonnie.
Okay, so we'll go into staff reports, and our first one is from our clerk, Jennifer.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. Sorry, I'm still writing. So this quick staff report is regarding our facilitating services for the September 24th public meeting. As council inquired staff to contact Brian Boyle of Brian Boyle Associates for facilitating services. He confirmed a fee of $2,500 plus HST, and I sent out an email September 6th outlining the fees per service and requesting permission from council to proceed. There's no financial impacts to the budget as there are funds available in the budget that's already been approved by council. So I have my 2 recommendations. Resolve that council receive the facilitating services September 24th, 2019 public meeting as presented by the clerk, and then resolve that council approve the services from Brian Boyle Associates for facilitating purposes for the public meeting scheduled for Tuesday, September 24th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. regarding the creation of a community hub and improvements to Kerwood Park in the amount of $2,500 plus HST.
Okay, so that was moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Clark, and that's to receive the report. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Is there any questions or comments regarding the approval of the facility for the $2,500? Okay, mover and seconder. Councillor Brody and Councillor McKinnon. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. I'm assuming everyone's received an email from Brian? Okay. I'm probably the only one that hasn't got back to him yet. Just us two? Okay.
No,
Okay, that's good.
I gotta do the verbal thing.
Okay. That's
Yeah, I
fine,
ended
too.
up just responding to the email because he was saying you can go in. I don't have the technical skills to do that. So I said, I'm just gonna start dribbling and this is what you get.
Yeah.
So,
Every time I thought about it when I was out there, it was like late.
yeah, you'll get to
Yeah,
it.
so that's tomorrow's show. Alrighty. Move on to the CAO Treasurer's Report. Kathy.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. The first report is the invoice payment approval for the period August 31st, 2019 to September 12th, 2019. The total amount of checks being submitted for approval is $108,858.42.
Is there any questions at all on the accounts? Mover and seconder for approval. Councillor Clark and Councillor Brody. All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried.
Second report is in regards to an interview committee for the Public Works Manager recruitment process. The applications for the position of Public Works Manager closed at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, September the 11th. An interview committee will need to be established to review resumes and conduct interviews. It is recommended that the committee be made up of 2 council members and the CEO treasurer. The proposed schedule would be to review the resumes today and tomorrow into Wednesday and select the top candidates to interview, with interviews being set up for the following week, September 23rd, 25th, and 26th if possible. And a second set of interviews be set aside for October the 1st if necessary. There is no additional remuneration for council for sitting on the committees, and staff participation is part of the regular duties. So we're just looking for a recommendation for 2 council members to sit on the interview committee.
Councillor Brody?
I was through there, I'd like to sit on that, as I said before.
And I think, Mayor Curtis, you should be part of that as well.
Okay. Is there any other councillors that's interested?
I'm not, like, I already have meetings on those 2 days, so I'm not much good here.
Okay.
Do you want a second?
No, I was just making sure that just because somebody jumps up first,
Yeah, just, he wants to know who wants to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have, how many applications have you gotten?
I haven't told them all, but we've got quite a few.
Oh, okay.
So we
Well,
have-
that's good.
We have some
It's
good
not a good
selection.
pool.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm assuming the motion will be resolved that council approve Mayor Smith and Councillor Brody and the CEO treasurer to sit on the interview committee for the Public Works Manager position. So Councillor Clark and seconded by Councillor McKinnon. All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried.
Just this evening was the financial report, which included the payroll for August.
Okay, any questions at all? Councillor McKinnon?
The, tax, registration, have we received, any paid out after receiving the notice that they're being
No.
registered?
Not at this point in time.
Is it, what did we say, we go 2 years now?
We can go up to 2 years. The ones that we've sent in are 3.
3, okay,
Yes.
thanks. And no action yet.
Not
Any other questions at all? I just had one, just looking through the roads department, Kyle, our summer student, is he officially done this the end of August, or is he still?
He is
doing
still
days?
working for us, since we are down technically 1 person. He had time to spend here, and Coulter requested that he stick around, so I said he could stay as long as we work for him, so he will be here at least for another week or so. So especially finishing walkers, there's a lot of work out there, so he will be around for that portion of it.
Excellent. Councillor McKinnon?
Speaking of walkers, it looks really good.
I haven't now.
Yeah, it looks really good, and the cone has been taken out of the intersection at, Walkers.
That's good.
Oh, in the hamlet there.
Yes, yes. Kathy must have, requested the road superintendent.
Okay, so we have a motion to resolve that council receive the financial report including the August payroll as presented by the CAO treasurer. Okay, Councillor McKinnon and Councillor Clark, all those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried.
The next report was to be the updated information for the sidewalk engineering report. I circulated a report which showed everyone the original sections of sidewalk that were being considered in the proposal, the request for proposal 10/2019. Unfortunately, we had some computer issues today and we weren't able to receive an email, so I did not receive the proposal from Streets, but they called and said they had sent it, but we hadn't received it. So I do have from the other two the additional costs for the section from Hickory at the lights along Hickory to Dolphin. So I'm wondering if council would like to put that off until we get the streets information and either meet later this week at a convenient time to make that decision, or right before the public special meeting next week to consider what you would like to do with the sidewalks.
Yeah, if we got the information sent to us just before the
meeting,
other
like
meeting
we
should be
usually
fine,
do.
wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Because
cause
we
we
need
might
to
have
be
an
here.
extra meeting.
We need to be here ourselves
Yeah,
early,
exactly.
right, so
Okay.
that wouldn't take very long.
Yeah.
I would think.
Should not take very long, no, we'll have that
So if we
information
came
all
on out
gathered.
early and then
I would think even at 6,
6 is
if
fine.
we did it at 6, like everything should be out ahead of time. I have,
Oh,
they
okay.
did the proposal and I have the other two, I just wasn't able to get streets off the internet today, so.
I think that'd be
I'll run
okay.
emails.
We'll do that.
So we'll do it for next Tuesday at 6 p.m.
That'll just be a special council meeting just
Just for that
just for that,
purpose.
so we
Yes.
open it, deal with that, close it, and then the
Yes.
other meeting. Okay. You want a motion for that, I assume?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So moved.
Okay. Council Clark, Council Brody. And then also, I'm assuming Deputy Mayor Hendricks will also be back for that.
Yes.
All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried.
So you just have to email her.
I will do that. And then there's one other item just to run by council is when we set the October 17th public meeting for the interim control bylaw open house and public meeting, we didn't determine an actual location. We discussed having it downstairs. Is that where we're going to have it, or did council want to look at having it at another venue that may be larger?
Is the fire hall an option?
We would have to have it in the hall itself, so we'd have to bring in chairs and we would have to talk to the fire chief about coordinating that.
Cause they have enough chairs there, do they not? Or where do those chairs come from? Like I remember saying, where are those
Yeah.
chairs from? There or?
I don't know.
Yeah. Cause I just think we're not big enough downstairs.
Yeah, for that one, might not be.
It all depends on if people show up to just talk to the planners and talk to staff beforehand. Like I said
It could be
before,
different than, yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what the public meeting portion, like what will come about it, like I don't know, like, yeah.
So would it be, that the planner would set up here first?
For the afternoon, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
would that make sense? And then, yeah, you may not get that many people in the evening if they, like to your point, they've already had their questions answered, right? So maybe we are fine downstairs.
Yeah, with Aaron having to be here, that's probably, cause then you gotta move.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think we just have to get the notices out. They will have to be mailed the week of the 25th of September. We'll have them in the mail, so they'll need to know where we're going to hold it.
Yeah, I just, will reiterate again that, for someone that has crutches or wheelchair, it's kind of hard. Like Mr. McLean and, Mr. Early George, if he came, it'd be difficult for them to get, it won't be difficult to get up here, but to get downstairs through the parking area.
So if it was at the fire hall, the separate room, the display could be in there for the afternoon? Cause that
That would
wouldn't
work.
impact if there was a fire call.
The tree
And then-
end,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if they had it in the other section and moved the trucks out, then if there was an emergency, those trucks are out and ready to go. So I mean, if you're concerned about that, I don't know, it's just, that gives you some options, I guess.
gives an option.
And
But
that,
I don't know how you know how many people are coming, that's the thing, right?
and that's the public notice will be sent to, how will the notice be sent out? Will it go to like every resident or every?
It will go
Taxpayer.
to all of the property owners within 120 meters of the subject properties, which are in the special policy areas.
And the people that sent, letters of objection as well.
We haven't sent anything out in regards to the special policy areas, so there's no objections to the special policy areas at this point.
Just do the one. Okay.
But we're not
How
legally
close did you
required
say,
to.
sorry?
120 meters from the subject properties.
Another 7 or 8?
7 special
7
policy
seven
areas.
areas.
So to Councilor McKinnon's question, when will that long list of letters, when will they be notified of any public process or meeting or decision or anything like that?
We can send them all out to all the correspondents, but it's also going to be on our Facebook page and our website as well about the public meeting notice. A lot of them didn't have return addresses, that's the downfall, that people didn't put addresses on their letters, so.
Well, the ones that did, I think it would be wise of us to notify them, and then I think word of mouth will get around as well.
Yeah, because 120 meters is not even going to catch the neighbor's house. Right?
That's required under the zoning act,
Yeah,
zoning requirement.
like the Cahills and the McLeans and Ralph and Heather.
Well, 100.
Well, and the people in
They were
Cairngorm
catching
for
that.
that special
for
policy
that.
area.
I mean, that's only 400 feet.
Dennings.
So
Mhm.
120 meters is only 400 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Not
That's
very
not
far.
gonna get, that's not even going to get your neighbor. Right?
Yeah. Again, we're looking at special policy areas and areas of concern, so, Francis isn't on the, you're not on the agenda today.
No, I'm not.
Next time, perfect.
You good?
Yep, we're good, yep, yeah. He said he might drop in when he's coming by, so. We weren't sure what time, so I didn't want to
Blue water
schedule it
cycle.
and
Yeah, I know, I remember when it very first started out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's a little different, but
So we're thinking location here for the special policy area, or are we thinking the fire hall?
I'm thinking fire hall.
Yeah. You have to do it all. We have to do it all.
Accessibility is an issue.
Yeah.
yeah, you can't deny access, so, and you can't have it in two separate places.
No.
No.
And does the staff need to be part of the 3 to 6 show, or they can just be the planner at the fire hall?
we'll be there for the 3 to 6 as well, because we do have people that come in and ask questions that vary from the topics that are being discussed. So we did find last time, municipal staff answered as many questions as the planning staff
Good
that
to know,
day. So
okay.
people come in and ask a
Mhm.
variety of
Yeah.
questions, so.
Yeah, for sure, okay.
My vote is for the fire hall.
That's
I
where.
guess the caller just check with Aaron and make sure he's got no
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
distractions, right?
Yeah.
But that would be fine with that.
I'm just saying it strictly from an accessibility standpoint, and I didn't realize that was,
I think probably going forward, obviously the community hub and park discussion is already set for downstairs, but I think going forward, if we do anything where it's larger than probably this area here in our council chamber, probably look at using the training room or something in Kerwood, especially when we're talking about something that's like township wide, it's more center, it's the center, yeah, central, it's a lot, yeah. For some people in Innendale, or, you know, it's, I don't know how long it takes you to drive to the township office, but it does, you know, take a while
it's
from
time,
here,
yeah.
So,
Yeah, so just check with Aaron first, and if it's okay, I think I can support that.
running a motion, or just, is that good for direction?
That's good for George.
Okay. Okay, so that's
Do we
everything.
need more clarification as to notification of ratepayers, or, so restate that, you're gonna do Facebook, a mail out to anyone within 120 meters, and then she put something, Wayne Dispatch, or I don't know where, do people even read that?
We will put it in the papers as well,
Okay.
the local circulation, that's, required under the act as well, so
Okay.
we can follow that.
So is there one in Glencoe, a paper? Or
It's
no?
a combination of Glencoe, Park Hill, Forest, and
Oh,
Montfort.
okay.
Yes.
And then if it is held, let's say the fire hall, we could get, that sign changed to state no public meeting or something like that, couldn't we?
Yes.
And then the letters that were sent in, there won't be a letter sent out to those individuals. Or,
No return address.
Yeah, we are looking at the special policy areas, so we have to focus on the people that are affected by the special policy area changes or potential changes, so.
Cause that's really all that's required.
Yeah.
Word of mouth is an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
Any more have to? Is
No.
that okay? Is there anything for other business at all? Councilor Brody?
Mr. Mayor, I got one thing brought up attention in Kerwood, just where the old building was ripped down. There was never really grass. I know that's not our property, but it might have to be
Sorry,
brought
which
up.
building is that?
The old building that got ripped down across from Woods' store. It's just all weeds growing up where they put the dirt on top. There was never grass put down there. And I noticed when I come in, it's just solid out weeds, which is gonna
So
get,
could the road guys whip by there and?
well, it's not our property, but I just,
We have a contract, our grass cutter is cutting it right
Okay.
now, so he'll be back in.
like, it's just a section of
Yeah.
where they brought in the dirt, so I don't know if that needs to get kind of just re-ripped and actually some grass put there, or else it will be just a solid amount of weeds for,
So we just cut and then assess it to the taxpayer, right? He has on his bill, okay.
so I don't know what we can do about that, but I can see it, it's growing up.
Yeah,
It's getting cut, but it's all weeds, it's just not weed.
okay.
And how often do we get that cut?
Once a month from now on. It was getting done, it got cut twice in June and once in July and August.
So we'll be doing it again here, okay. You're low.
Okay, is there anything else for other business? Just one thing, kind of along the lines of talking about Kerwood, driving through on Kerwood Road over the tracks. Has anybody else drove over the tracks? I assume they have.
Tonight,
Are we happy or
No.
upset?
no.
The
Okay.
pike's good, I drove over the pike today, it's good.
So-
There's still a little bit of a, wow.
Yeah, so I think it's because of the two sets of tracks, and it's a big variation between the
Yes.
two, and
It is.
yeah, and I think we need to do some more communication to CN, because as much as it is improved, it's
Improved.
not,
It's
Okay.
improved. The height
yeah,
problem where people were rubbing, I think is better.
yeah,
You're still getting that bump through
Yeah.
the second. And I don't know what you can do unless you go way back on the county road and have it build up as well, so it's more of a.
but I think it's also between the two
It's
sets of
between
tracks.
the tracks, so I don't know how.
Yeah,
I think it was asphalt between the tracks and not rubber. I think that's the difference. If it was the rubber or.
Well, it's.
Well, it's still,
Yeah.
that's still gonna be level. It's still, when you come over, you hit the second
Yeah.
track, there's still a bump there, and I don't know.
It is
You
a
can't
lot
change the
better.
height of the tracks,
no,
No.
right?
and I think it's
So-
also on the curve too, but, okay, I just wanted
Maybe
to see some
they'll
other,
give us some more explanation on
I'll go home that way.
Yeah.
go slow.
Yeah.
I'm in Dave's farm.
Yeah, no,
so
seriously,
yeah,
go
it's a
slow.
lot more.
Okay, and then just another thing to note, just since I was gone for a week and driving through and seeing different things, it's quite impressive, some of the properties, I think kind of people are, that whole snowball effect that's happening with getting a few properties being cleaned up. I've noticed that some other ones, in Kerwood, in there as well that are also cleaned up. I'm not sure if there was any other complaints that came in.
Nope.
As well as the, property on 22, the old gas station and something,
Yes.
whatever it was. It's,
Yes.
great to see those ones getting improved.
Well, and I think you have to credit the staff for sending the letter. I
Yes.
witnessed it on the bottom and had about the property change, because that has stimulated a lot of dialogue,
Mhm.
where all of a sudden people whose properties maybe don't look as good as the guy next door are feeling a little bit more pressure, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because if they can self-govern, that's ideal,
Yes.
right? So,
Yeah, it's excellent. And that one, down there, I know it was just recently sold, but it's amazing to see how much
Oh,
is leaving that property, and I'd love to know the total amount of tires that are in that pile.
yeah.
So,
have there been any complaints about the, one on Kerwood and Napperton, on the corner there? No complaints received, okay.
alrighty. The only other thing is, and it's not on the list here, if you just mark your calendars for November 9th, that's the warden's banquet for this year, and that's going to be held at the county building. So make sure you set that aside.
What day of the week is that?
So that's Saturday. We'll get the formal invitation out soon. I guess Kathy Bunting likes to send it out a month,
She's very good.
month and a half before,
That's
just so that
okay.
people don't forget. So it's coming close.
So
That
does that mean that's when your term's up?
Yeah,
no, my term's up
December?
December
fourth or something
Fifth.
like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's quick, wow.
Yeah.
Where are they holding the event?
So it's at the county
County
building.
building
Yeah.
itself. Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
So yeah, I was trying to figure out where to have it, and I figured nobody has had it at the county building, and a lot of people haven't been there before, so
Oh, it's a lovely venue, yeah.
so may as well do it there.
Good.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we'll have our bylaws, and it's resolved that all 3 readings be given to bylaws number 61 of 2019, zoning bylaw amendment Z09/2019, and bylaw number 62 of 2019, confirm council proceedings, and that the bylaws be signed by the mayor and clerk, and the corporate seal to be attached. Councillor McKinnon and Councillor Brody, all those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. And a motion to adjourn at 7:51.
At
Councillor,
what?
7:51.
Holy, that's.
Councillor Brody and Councillor McKinnon, all those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried.